So I love real estate so much, and Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about these in his book. The first reason I love real estate so much is the leverage. Real estate is the only investment product that you can leverage. If you want to buy $100,000 in stocks and mutual funds, well, you have to spend $100,000. But if you want to buy a $100,000 house, you only have to spend $20,000. The bank will loan you 80% for this investment. And that's incredible because instead of spending your $100,000 just on the stocks and mutual funds, with that same $100,000, you can actually buy 5 homes. And that's a huge amount of leverage and growth for you. And it makes real estate a really unique investment. And a lot of people wonder, well, why do the banks, allow people to, or provide this type of leverage? Why do they loan people so much money on this? Well, the answer is because they know what a safe investment it really is. They can actually secure their investment. It's a very, very safe product. So they have those mechanisms to protect themselves as well. So leverage definitely is one of the number one things about real estate. The second is control. With real estate, you have a lot of control over your investments. I don't feel like when I had my mutual funds and stocks, I had any control because I can't control what's going to happen in the market, in the stock market. I do believe that it's very manipulated. And, it can be manipulated from various factors. And from that, even the smartest, most well-read person really may not have that control. But with real estate, you can really have a lot more control because you can pick your investments. You can pick, where you're investing. You can pick your tenants. You can pick your price point. You have so much control over. You can pick your strategy. You can pick anything. And it really kind of puts you in the driver's seat. Like when COVID-19 happened, and the stocks are going up and down, our investment portfolio, well, nothing really changed. It was still there. It still existed. We still had a tenant. You still get your rent coming in. So in that regards of real estate, you do have a lot of control. Now, I'm not saying the market's not going to go up and down. Real estate, active real estate is a long-term investment. If you're a flipper or a rent to own or a wholesaler or something, and you're doing a shorter term investment strategy, that's fine. And you can still, but you have to control that as well. And if you know what you're doing and you have the right education and you know the right questions to ask and the right planning to put place, you really do have a lot more control because you are in the driver's seat of these investments. Now, there are passive investment products too, and I know Mark's going to be speaking about some of that as well. But even with those, you have a lot more control than you do with stocks and mutual funds because you actually have the opportunity to learn about the investment opportunity and decide, is that right for you, and have it explained to you a lot more so than what's your risk tolerance, low, medium, or high. So I do love real estate because of control. And it's very tangible. I love the fact that real estate actually exists. The John's homes and his investment properties in Calgary, they're there. He could drive past them. They're there. Mark's investments in Pinnacle all across the nation, US and Canada, they are there. Just because you're not physically doing it, they do exist. These are features that exist. So tangible is really, really important to me because you can see your investment, you can touch your investment, you can even taste your investment if you want. And lastly, people will always need places to live. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, shelter. And so even the cavemen had caves. So as long as people are still living in homes, you are always going to have clients for your business because in real estate, you are the landlord and your tenants are your clients. So at Real Property Investments, we help people invest in real estate. We take away all the guesswork out of it so you can stop guessing and you can actually start investing. So all that wonderful sponsor deck that we showed you, we have all the professionals on the team who are here to help you. We have mortgage specialists who are here to qualify and make sure to see what you can buy. Then John, the real estate specialist, will actually take you out and show you properties in your price range. And he's going to tell you what these properties are, why they're good properties, what these properties will rent for. We have property managers as well that can even help you rent these units. But by the time you finish spending an afternoon with John, you'll know exactly which investment models would work with you, what price you're going to have to pay for these properties, what kind of cash flow, which means cash in your pocket after all your expenses, can you expect from these properties, and what will your overall ROI be from these properties. So a lot of people, they know real estate's the best and they really, really want it, but they're really, really kind of just sort of crossing their fingers and hoping that they're doing the right thing, and they just kind of hope for the best. So we really do like to, when our experts work with you, to really give you a lot more support and really hold your hand through the entire transaction. So you feel, like I keep saying that same word, empowered. You feel excited and empowered because you do have more control over your investment. So this property here that we are looking at right now, actually this is a property that John just recently, I believe you recently transacted on this property?
Last year, yeah.
Last year. Okay, so John is going to walk us through the numbers. John, you could share your screen.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, and I like it. But there's something wrong because it says $124,000.
Well, that's because this one was particularly bought back in 2010. So, and this is actually in the Calgary area. This one was from Cochrane. And the reason I picked this one in particular is because it had such huge appreciation. Now, if you look at, and this is a bit of a digression, I'll get to that later, but you've seen some of the duplexes, fourplexes more recently, the prices come down. And I think that's where there's a real buying opportunity. But in this particular case, I had sold this property for someone, and this is in Cochrane, which is in the Calgary area. But she had bought it 9 years ago for $124,000. And then I sold it for her last year for $223,000. So she realized a profit of almost $100,000 from that sale. But during that time, she was renting it for $1,500 a month, and her cash flow every month was about $700. So over that 9-year period, she cash flowed almost $80,000. And I think this just was a great example of a total ROI story that was amazing. So she had this amazing cash flow on a very little investment, probably the equivalent of about $25,000 down. I realized a profit of 98.5. So her total return on investment on that initial $20,000 investment was almost $200,000. So it just illustrates a real life example of the power of real estate. But if I could just expand on this property, where it really becomes interesting is this was just one half of the duplex. I actually approached the owner of the other half and bundled it together and sold them as an entire package. So the person who bought it as essentially a complete building, and then they ended up suiting the lower levels. So I talked to them after, and they were still able to get $1,200 per side up, and then close to $1,000 per side down. So even at the $223,000, which is amazing, and there are a ton of opportunities like this in Calgary, they were able to then cash flow $4,500, not cash flow, but get net revenue of $4,500 a month from a $450,000 property. So really great success story. And like I said, I did represent the seller here, but I've also represented buyers for similar properties. So amazing opportunity. And to your point, for 20% down to see this sort of return. Yes, of course, not every property is like this, but at the same time, this isn't so far-fetched that this was a one-off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are great numbers, and even at a higher price point, if it's 100,000 higher, still great. 200,000, you could still we build out these real estate models, and I absolutely love side-by-side duplexes. It's very a really solid opportunity for an investor to have 4 units in one building. It's cheaper to maintain, it's more headache-free, and it's really achievable. It's really achievable. And these numbers really are outstanding. I'm absolutely loving these numbers. And it shows here, with this amount of return on investment, how this could really help, people. If she was just to even keep that property and just pay off her mortgage every single month, that appreciation after 25 years, there's her retirement fund right there.
Yeah.
Or you could even see if she had kids, like I have 4 kids, I had to figure out how to send them all to university. We got each one of them a property, and we strategically, we plan to strategically refinance each property. So after 5 years, with the average property, you could be pulling out the amount of a university education or another savings goal that you want to achieve. So it really is a powerful investment. And I love it when you said actually that not all of them are like this, because they're not. And real estate isn't about sitting here behind your screen and looking on MLS and trying to figure it on your own. When you have a team and an expert who's here to help you, John knows exactly what works. So instead of showing you everything and dragging you from house to house, he's only going to show you homes that fit your investment model. So if your investment model is legal duplex, that's all you're going to see. If your investment model is fourplex, that's all you're pretty much going to see, because he'll know what returns you want, what your goals want, and it really speeds up the purpose and helps you build wealth faster. So thank you for sharing that, John.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. And not to digress but I think you raised a great point. There's also this whole concept of illegal and legal suites. And within the city of Calgary at the moment, and I know I spoke to this last month, but there's a great opportunity where up until the end of next year, the city's got a promotion of sorts, if you will, where they're actually waive the development fee and help you legalize the lower suites. And typically we've seen at least, not at least, on average about 20% appreciation once you legalize that lower suite. So if you've got something like this with an illegal suite, you go through that process for, I did it on one property for as little as a couple $1,000s. It was a matter of interconnecting the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And that was really all I had to do. And then the suite was then legalized. And now that half of that duplex that I had bought for almost $300,000, after doing that, it's worth about $350,000. So, there's really some amazing opportunities. And especially right now, you also talked about, Calgary's no stranger to economic booms and busts, but the savvy investors, I think, can see past that and realize that this is a buying opportunity. And to your point, yes, prices might go down further, but it's just an opportunity to continue to build your passive income portfolio.
I like that you said that, because it makes a lot of sense.